The mission of how I started podcasting and started Special Chronicles is giving respect and voice to those of us with special needs. The mission of how I started podcasting and started Special Chronicles is giving respect and voice to those of us with special needs. I became an athlete leader of Special Olympics Illinois, and when I recorded the audio of the speeches that I was given and putting those up as podcasts, I soon received messages of encouragement, and I learned that it was a powerful platform and really helping to make a difference in people's lives. 12 years ago, I didn't expect that anybody would want to even listen to me. We have over 42,316 listeners per month. It's a humbling experience. I'm really grateful to make a difference in other people's lives.
This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
Podcasting since 2008. This is the show where we're broadcasting disability stories from an insider's perspective, and we are giving a voice to people with special needs. This is your weekly guide to find and joy, acceptance, and inclusion.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Coming up on part 9 of a Unified at Work podcast original series. We're on the job with Karen and Matt from Special Olympics Illinois. Tune in for an extraordinary conversation about unified employment taken off at United Airlines based on the groundbreaking global partnership with Special Olympics and United Airlines, featuring behind-the-scenes stories and exclusive audio documentary from the global headquarters of the Friendly Skies. Part 9 is coming up right now on SpecialChronicles.com. Welcome back to the Unified at Work series on the Special Chronicles Show. Karen and Matt.
Hey, Danielle. It's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I think both of you have never actually been on an official podcast before, right?
So take it easy on us. I mean, this is what, episode 395, and for you, at least, and one.
At least,
so.
yeah. Well, I think so. Like some of the podcasts I did in Los Angeles, I didn't number it with this weekend, so it's probably more than 395. But I just sprung it on you guys. Talk about taking it easy. Half an hour before going live, I think I told you guys that we were actually going to be live.
So ready.
Yeah. So I've got all my sound effects all set. Susie Cobble, that you guys know at United, she was having a little bit fun with the sound effects. So there's some bonus footage that people can go and can watch on the Special Chronicles YouTube page. But anyways, let's begin with a quick programming note. The Unified Work series is produced by the Special Chronicles Network for 12 plus years, back when I had a lot more hair. 12 plus years, we have been producing groundbreaking and award-winning podcasts to give respect and voice to people with special needs. Listen to hundreds of podcasts heard globally by thousands of listeners for free and on demand on SpecialChronicles.com and on podcast apps everywhere. The Unified Work series is co-produced in collaboration with United Airlines. United is Chicago's hometown airline and is a major legacy airline. United Airlines is a proud global partner of Special Olympics, and Wady is taken as the big billboard ad says and a new video says. It's Wady taking inclusion to new heights, which is what we're talking about on this whole Unified Work series. You can fly the friendly skies and book your travel today. It is safe, as Jana, my boss's boss, said, that it is safer than being in a building. So keep that in mind when you book your travel today on United.com or on the United app, mobile app. Also, support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. Join our supporters, and we are currently raising $12,000 in celebration of a 12-year celebration at Special Chronicles in November. In a month. Or actually, November starts in a few weeks. I think something like that. You can please support this podcast at SpecialChronicles.com/give. That's SpecialChronicles.com/give. You can also text give to 833-953-2598. But just go to SpecialChronicles.com/give and click the Give Now button. And thank you for your generous support. And anytime doing the show, if you want to, I think I did put it in. You can text me right now, 630-280-3082, 630-280-3082. It's not my real number, but it is the real me. It's I'm actually the first Special Olympics athlete to be on this new community app that a lot of celebrities are using, and it's really cool. It's I'll get it, so you can text me right now, 630-280-3082. 630-280-3082. And any comments that you have, if you're listening to this on demand afterwards, then you can, if you have any comments, I will share it with you and Matt after the show. But there we go. So with that, let's have you both begin by introducing yourself to our listeners. Tell us about your brief backstory and job at Special Olympics and your connection to our disability community. How did you come to work at Special Olympics Illinois? We'll begin with Karen first, and then we'll go to Matt.
Sure. Well, I've pretty much been with Special Olympics since I graduated from school, and not to age myself, because I graduated college when I was like 10. But I've been with the movement for almost 30 years and have been in the athlete leadership and family leadership role for the last 15. It's been an extraordinary experience working with some amazing athletes in leadership roles and helping them develop their leadership skills and take on some really instrumental positions and roles within the organization. So I think I have the best job with Special Olympics Illinois.
Yeah, I think so too. And I forgot to say that, Karen, you are the director of Athlete and Family Services, and Matt, you are the Chief Development Officer at Special Olympics Illinois. So, anything else, Karen, that you want to say, or should we turn it over to Matt?
Yeah, turn it over to Matt.
Well, I think Karen does have the best job here. I'm a close second or third. I've been on staff a little more than 12 years here, Daniel, in a variety of roles. To your point earlier, Chief Development Officer right now, and what does that really mean? Charged with the fundraising vision and strategy for the organization. I've been very passionate, involved in sports throughout my life. Had a stint working in college athletics prior to my experience here at Special Olympics, and worked at a college that hosts a lot of Olympic events, and would find myself going out and watching state basketball, at Illinois State University's campus, and was really called and drawn to it, and it's been a wonderful change working alongside, thousands of incredible individuals like yourself, Daniel. So it's been really enjoyed being here, and look forward to what's to come. So thanks for having us today.
Awesome. Yeah. It's great to finally have both of you on the show, for knowing you throughout the years of my involvement as an athlete, and then athlete leader, and now Southern Survival International Global Messenger. I think I forgot to say who I was at the top of the show, but I think people probably already know that. I think maybe.
I think so.
So like I feel like every episode or so, I'll forget to introduce myself at the top of the show, but I think yeah. Anyways, with that, the main reason why we're having you both on, because you both have been really the main staff with all new groundbreaking inclusive employment program at United Airlines. And so take us, and I know when I was brought on, or was one of the full, as we call ourselves, as we call ourselves the original UFO, because when they hire more athletes in other states or countries, then we're going to always be the original UFO. So with that, with the original UFO, I was a little hesitant when you guys, when I was one of the four that you guys had selected. And Karen, that for sure, because from phone calls like from a year ago when we were, because like it was all top secret a year ago leading up to October 28th. And so I know like I was really hesitant leading up, but it ended up being the opportunity that I think I've been waiting for. And I'm sure Lone and Kyle and Zeke can probably speak to the same thing, but it's the opportunity that I think I've been waiting for, and have been, with all of my athlete leadership skills, I've really kind of been building up to. I think on some call that we were on a couple of days ago, Karen, you had kind of said that we were talking about building blocks. And so with that, take us back to when this inclusive or unified employment program of the original UA4 service ambassadors, from the job share days to the orientation, and now we're pushing on 1 year work anniversary. So kind of looking back at the past, actually, I think it was about a year and a half was when the kind of program kind of started. But take us back from your perspective.
I'll let Matt start with the beginning steps.
Yeah, I think it's great having us both on. I think we both have been incredibly involved throughout the process, but have been see this through a different lens entirely. So just the tremendous partnership we've enjoyed with United on so many levels. That predates kind of the official global partnership in 2018 that kicked off with USA Games, and obviously the 50th anniversary here in our backyard in Chicago. as far as the employment piece, though, we decided at the end of 2018, which was the year that I think we locked arms with United and worked really hard on a lot of things. Like both of those initiatives I just said, I thought, this is a great opportunity. We should celebrate the partnership here at the end of the year. We should continue to, fortify that relationship and get to know each other better and let United get to really truly know and play alongside our athletes. And we had a end of year celebration where we did a unified bowling event, with about 100 of their staff at O'Hare. And that was a lot of the customer service team that was there. And I think that day was kind of a springboard to a lot of this, honestly. I think our athletes were incredibly engaging, well-spoken, competitive, and just had a lot of traits that, Jonna McGrath in particular, your boss's boss, as you said earlier, I think she really took notice and like, hey, that we need to get to know this group more. They can drive incredible value for us. There's a lot of lessons learned here. And I think out of that simple bowling event spawned these job shadow days. And with, from there, it snowballed even further with those job shadow days to say, not only do they, do we want them here? They deserve to be here. They should have a place here. It's the right thing to do. They would drive incredible value to our organization. There's a role for them here. And that's, again, all out of a simple bowling event, in my opinion, and just opening eyes to the skill sets that Special Olympics athletes have. And now we're talking to you about a year anniversary of employment. So really phenomenal.
Yeah. Before we get to you, Karen, I want to comment on a couple of things you said, Matt. One is one's more of a kind of funny comment based on what you said, and another one is more of a serious comment. And so, because that's what we do, we have entertaining and informative and inspiring all kind of combined into one podcast. And so you mentioned the Bowen event was kind of what I think took this partnership to the next level. And with that, and you said that you guys were bowling at Ho Hill. Do you guys bowl like with the baggage, with the luggage, or with the like did you guys go down under, so like in between the B concourse and C concourse there was like that's where the bags go? And I don't know if you guys ever, I don't think they took you there, but they took the four of us there, and we got to see kind of like where all the bags go, and like when you check your bag, and did you guys like bowl like at the airport?
No. I mean, as much fun as that sounds, we bowled with the O'Hare team right across the road, really across the interstate in Rosemont. So there wouldn't be any luggage to bowl with because I'm sure there's zero lost luggage, Daniel. Anyway.
Yeah, there was a lot lost luggage, and maybe. That wouldn't be a good idea.
I think you're onto something, though. I like it.
Yeah. We should next time we should figure something out with that. And the other comment was, so when I don't know if you guys listened or binge listened to any of the previous Unified at Work episodes, but part 5 we had Toby, who's the chief customer officer, and Jessica, who's the chief diversity, equity, and inclusion officer. I might have mixed up those words in the title, but something that Jessica had talked about, that's the chief inclusion, diversity, equity officer at United, said that the way that they look at really inclusion at United and bringing the four of us on is building inclusion from, and I'm pretty sure it's she who said that. It might have been Susie, but because sometimes I mix up the guests, but I probably shouldn't say that out loud. Anyways, something that I think Jessica said was that they build inclusion from the inside out. So maybe, I don't know if you guys, if you wanted to comment on that, on building inclusion from the in, like, as that was their. Something else we talked about kind of off air, Karen, was this inclusive mindset. That's something that a friend, Emily Klingos, said, that an inclusive mindset. And I think that inclusive mindset that United has of building inclusion from the inside out is what kind of really made this such a groundbreaking landmark program for us to be part of for the past year?
I think it's what made it work. And you're absolutely right. It wasn't coming down from the top that, hey, we decided we're going to partner with Special Olympics and this is what you're going to do. This thing just happened organically, just with interactions, with their employees and then their peers at Special Olympics. And with it happening in that nature, like I said, it was just kind of natural. And they advocated for it themselves and they wanted to do it because it was not only the right thing to do, but they recognize the value that employing individuals with disabilities has on so many levels. So that was people, not necessarily CEO or president saying marching orders. This was employees saying we should do this and here's why. And I think that's why, again, a year later we're having this conversation because of that.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm sure even actually Susie and I have a lot of kind of off-air phone calls, some meant phone calls and some accidental phone calls that listen to the whole episode to find out about the whole accidental phone calls that kind of led us to where we will having this coffee talk, a latte. We had latte. So latte talk about. And anyways, so something that she said that even we'll probably continue, maybe even bring a season 2 of this Unified at Work series next year, because there's even some pilots and some other people that want to be able to talk on this podcast series. So I think it's something that we'll be able to continue to co-produce with United and Special Chronicles and Special Olympics, kind of all three coming together to produce this series. Now I'll turn it over to you, Karen, to kind of share your thoughts on what Matt talked about and your thoughts on how this all unified employment program came about.
You guys both really covered it really well, but it truly was driven by some extremely passionate and committed United employees led by Jana that are committed to our same passions and our same belief in accessibility and inclusiveness, and they stuck with it until they got to a point where, and they're still at a point where they want to build on it. But the job shadow days were really another layer of introduction of the athletes of Special Olympics Illinois getting immersed into the work of United Airlines customer service people, and truly a hands-on experience. And the United employees and management realized that the athletes really are hard workers and really committed and just have such dynamic personalities. So after a number of job shadow personnel or days, we had a great conversation about opportunities to potentially employ some individuals from the disability community that are Special Olympics athletes at United Airlines. And it was a process. This was something unprecedented for United, and they really wanted to, vet out the process and how the job description would look. And so it did take a while from the initial discussion to, the final interviews and offer of job letters that you, Daniel, and the other three got. Awesome.
Well, and those, and you sent me the some of those pictures from pictures in a video clip from a year ago when we came in for the interview, and it's amazing to kind of look back at the past year, and even this month's SSIGM blog that the three of us, Sona, SSIGMs, write a blog each month, as you guys know, and this month is about employment because National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And I will look. It was a lengthy blog. I think it's ended up being like 7 pages long. It was a lengthy blog this month because I was trying to cover everything from the past year of United all into one blog, and they're going to try to. I thought I had to upload the video in order to share with the blog, but it's because United already uploaded it, and it's already on YouTube. It was easy. All I did was just put the link at the end of the blog. So I think they're going to try to link to the blog, link to the video in the blog, which is really helpful. But something that you said, Karen, is you mentioned about how that us athletes how work goes, and I just got a tweet from a listener that I know from Los Angeles. She I know a few listeners in Los Angeles, but one particular listener shared the video. She has family in the Chicago area. She went to school in Indiana. I know a little way too much about some of our listeners, but anyways, she shared the video that United did, and she said, well, she was just thanking United for the feature video, and she said that Daniel is one of the hardest working communicators I know, and has taught me so much. Another reason you're my favorite airline. I don't know if you guys want to kind of comment on that, but there's another quote that I'm going to find, but I'll bring it up later on in the episode. But did you kind of want to comment on that based on my comment, based on your comment?
It goes back to what you said about it being, internal and organic. What makes United Airlines are the amazing employees that work for United, from the top, to the leadership and management, to everybody that's at the gates and in the terminals. It is just an incredibly passionate group of employees that have always made us feel so welcome, have embraced, our population. And you really feel like you're working with, Special Olympics, because this is what we do for a living. And United has embraced our group like we embrace our athletes. So honestly, that is what has made this experience and this adventure just so much fun and so exciting. After our job shadow days and every encounter we had at United, I leave there with such a big and full heart and permagrin, because you just can't smiling from all the fun that we have, and just the experience that the athletes are having is just very difficult to replicate in too many settings, and let alone being at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. It's truly a phenomenal experience, and then just amplified by the amazing employees at United. Yeah,
it's an amazing adventure and journey that we've been on the past year, and not in a way to kind of transition to the next topic of this episode. We're on the job with Kieran and Matt from Special Olympics Illinois on this Unified at Work podcast original series on SpecialChronicles.com, and one to kind of transition to, and I've mentioned this quote on previous episodes / wait, hold on. This is part 9. Yeah. Previous episodes. Sorry. Because we recorded this series out of Odo, it's kind of a weird thing. Like we talked about a guest that people will hear in the future, but also in the past, because we recorded it out of Odo. So it's like this kind of weird thing, like, which now you kind of understand when they make TV shows. Like, that's, I guess that's what they do. But right before we talk about the social impact of the inclusion revolution as it relates to United and our inclusion revolution at Special Olympics, I wanted to briefly read you a quote that that SOI asked all of us SSI GMs for a quote, and the quote relates to everything that's going on, not really politically, but more kind of racially and diversity and all the hatred and stuff that's going on across the country, across the globe. But so I'm going to read you this quote, and actually, I'm going to text it to you, Karen, and I'm going to have you read it, because that's what I've been doing. Is I've been having the guest read my quote. I know it sounds better. It probably sounds better coming from me, but I'm going to text it to you, Karen, and then unless you want Matt to read it, but
I got it. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll have you read the quote, and then I'll have both you and Matt comment on this quote. But this was this past a few months ago was when I said this.
Hate can be met by love. Us athletes show love when we are met with hate. That's exactly the way I've always been. No matter what, when people have said bad stuff about me and my friends, I smile, I listen, and I stay happy and joyful when interacting with them. That's what I've always shown. Well said.
Yeah, thanks. Do you want to comment? I'll give a. So,
that was a plug for yourself, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did. Well, it was about you guys, you and the audience applauding. I just happen to have the only one have access to the sound clips. But
I think that is so typically characteristic of our population in general, that there is so much love and so much embracing of people's differing abilities within the work that we do and within the community that we serve. That's why this has become such a family for me. And I think when people are exposed to the work that we do and the athletes of Special Olympics, they realize that there's no hate in the world when you're in our world. And I think you put those thoughts very well in your quote.
Thanks. And Matt, did you want to comment on?
Yeah, no, I mean, really well said. I mean, it's almost, I don't even know what more to say, but I mean, I think a kind heart conquers all, and we see that every day, with the groups that we work with, and you're a leading example of that, and I'm sure that carries over into your work atmosphere. So
yeah, absolutely. And there's so now doing our SSIGM training a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, beginning of last year, we had to give a speech at the end to all the staff at SOI. And I think Chris, we quoted it. Chris, my mental / bag carrier / PR guy. There's a bunch of stuff that he does for me. It's a inside joke. Now everybody knows. But bag carrier, that's what he says. Anyways, we quoted it, and I think, I don't know, he probably has the video somewhere, but I gave a speech on the whole idea of love as it relates to us athletes. And so on that theme of love, I think that it relates to the inclusion revolution, but tell us about the social impact of the inclusion revolution as it relates to United Airlines and as it relates to Special Olympics and our global partnership with United Airlines.
Yeah, well, looks like Karen. Now back to you. Okay. All right, again, this is episode 1 for me, Daniel, so you're going to have to bear with me.
Okay. I didn't know who's going to go first.
No, I think it says a few things. I mean, as you've said, it's really a groundbreaking inclusive program. I mean, they were brave enough to take these steps and propel this movement, and I think we're going to see that they're leading by example, and others are going to take notice. I mean, United Airlines is a huge brand. I think hopefully their peers, not just in the airline industry, but others will realize the benefit of taking these kind of steps and follow suit. But I think to your point about love, I think this partnership and this program really humanizes them and cements their commitment to serving all. I mean, I hear and see a lot about connecting people, uniting the world, and this is proof that they're really committed to doing that. And they want to make sure that their customer service is top notch for any single customer that they'd ever encounter in service. So I think this just echoes that.
Yeah, and I think that with the fact that the global pandemic is happening in our first year of being at United, I think can really speak to that the fact that United is the only airline that has a full of us there to help. Yes, we're only in Chicago. We're not in all not yet. There's not athletes in other hubs, but I think the fact that we are actually there, and the fact that there's a video and there's a billboard, not just in Chicago, but in other United airports as well, I think is what will make United come out as above in the top 1 to the very top airlines, is because we're there to really show love and connect with customers in a different, unique, more personal way than what I think a lot of their agents do. Yes, the agents do it as well, but I think we have that special. Me and Lowen and Kyle and Z have that really special connection that we can take the time to connect with, and I think that's kind of what will make United come out.
Yeah, and I'm sure that spirit's rubbing off on your colleagues, Daniel.
Yeah.
So it's just a better overall environment, and everybody's learning from one another.
Yeah, I'm sure. And to kind of comment on something that you said, that yes, we're not in other hubs, other SO programs yet, but I think something that Susie talked about, and people can go listen to the last episode and listen to a 40-minute conversation that Susie and I had live from the Polaris Lounge Club. Pretty cool. We had the whole club to ourselves. And so the pokes of looking there. And so probably the only podcast that gets to do that. And so something that she said is that when we do go to other hubs, that we can potentially bring the Unified at Work series, and even 1, 2, 3, 4 of us to those other airports and talk with any athletes that they hire in those other airports. Is that something that you think that might be possible as they grow this program?
Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, as someone at Special Olympics and not United, I think that's a vision that they have. That this is a great thing that we've done here at O'Hare, and this can be replicated at other hubs across the country, across the world. When the timing and obviously the climate's a little bit different, but absolutely, I think, and you guys are going to help lead that charge of your mentors.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes into, that's a good transition for Keelan, talking about the social impact of the inclusion revolution, because when you talk about mentors, that's exactly what we're doing with our athlete leadership training of us as co-trainers, training and mentoring other athletes. That kind of that already is giving us, like, we are already getting practice with that will hopefully translate to mentoring other athletes at United. So with that perfect podcast transition, Karen, did you want to kind of feed off of that conversation?
Yeah, no, absolutely. United are pioneers, as Matt mentioned, with this whole inclusion revolution. And because of the mentors they trained and put in place to work with our athletes, through the employment, but also through the job shadow days, it just created such a positive experience and really has helped build all of your confidence levels so that you do feel like you can be in an airport the size of O'Hare and understand what your role is and where you need to be and how you need to do your job. So the mentorship piece is critical. And I think the only thing I'd add on is that, another big piece of the social impact with inclusion is the customers that United is able to reach and show the inclusiveness of their workforce. that we've seen through the job shadow days and that you see every day you're at work, Daniel, just the impact that I noticed when customers see United employees working with our athletes through the job shadow day. It's just transformative. They just have so much more patience and compassion and understanding that, our population is capable of working in these jobs. And it's just very enlightening and enriching to watch, these transactions happen during the job shadow days.
Yeah, awesome. And with that, kind of what you said, somebody commented on, actually, I think it might have been, there's been so many comments based on that with sharing that video yesterday. I can't keep up with all the comments on that United has been sharing, but I'm gonna find it because I think it was on Twitter. I think it was on their Twitter page. And as I find that, and we have to kind of quickly move on because I only have 20 more minutes, but and you guys have to get back to work. But as I tried, and I think I might have, because somebody commented on that they saw, they actually saw Lowen work, and see if I can find whoops. There's so many tweets and retweets, and it's hard to keep up with all. What did they say? Oh, no, that's a video somebody said. I'll try to find it, but as I try to find it, I should have favorited it. I'm almost positive it was on. It might have been on the United's. This is perfect radio. It might have been on the. They've got an employee Twitter at We Are United, and I think it was on that. You know what? It could have even been. I don't think it was on LinkedIn. Can you believe I can't find it? You know what? I think I kind of remember it. I can't find the exact tweet or comment, but it was someone said that they saw Lowen working, and they were really impressed. And yeah, it's gonna kill me that I can't find the tweet, but yeah, you can just trust me. It kind of spoke to that same thing that you said, Karen. Anyways, yeah, for the sake of time, it spoke to, that customers are seeing us, whether it's in the job shadow day or seeing me and Lauren and Kyle and Z actually on the job. There's a reason why we're titling this episode "On the Job With," because even though technically we are not on the job with you two, we are still on. Well, I mean, I guess we kind. I don't know if you guys can see. Well, podcast listeners can't see us, but the jacket I'm wearing is. Do you guys want to describe for our listeners? Let me see if I can bring it up.
Very nice uniform piece, a lovely royal blue United co-branded Special Olympics sport jacket. Very nice. Yeah.
So with that, as we quickly move on, tell us about the I'm going to kind of combine, for the sake of time, I'm going to combine the next two in one. So tell us about the disability training that Special Olympics hosted along with JJ's List with United employees. I thought that that Steve, my boss, had to take it 2 times. But it was just, you guys just gave them 2 certificates for the one, which I said this on the air like a couple of episodes ago. So it's all good. Like Steve laughed about it, but like how many times can you say that to your boss that you thought he had to take a training 2 times? But so with that, tell us briefly from your perspective about the disability training. I know Steve has like at least 2 certificates above his desk, but also and then kind of go into this inclusive employment, how this benefits this inclusive, because a lot of people might wonder, why are we at Special Olympics getting into helping us athletes get jobs? A lot of people are probably wondering, like, why, how does this, so kind of, we talk about the disability training in a minute or two, and then in another minute or two, talk about how does this benefit our Special Olympics mission of sports, leadership, and health programs. I don't know who wants to go first.
I thought you were going to jumble the boxes up. I'll speak briefly to the first, and I think we all have, Karen and I have different perspectives on both of those. But I guess first, Dan, I'd be very careful teasing your boss too much, because I want to be back here in a year. Yeah. Year anniversary. So
yeah, I know.
Steve is a fan. I'm sure. But I think the training, that you said, kind of the sensitivity training, whatever we titled it, I think it just, to me, besides being wonderful, seeing the classes of people that came in and were extremely attentive and really wanted to, learn. It just demonstrates United's commitment to educate and train their workforce. I mean, they didn't, that wasn't a requirement. They didn't have to do that, but they genuinely cared, wanted to make sure that they were treating their original UA4 respectfully and in the way that they want to be treated. And that mentality extends to, their consumers. So I think that just is a great testament to, United's values there. I think to your second point, with this employment program, how that's reflective of our values at Special Olympics. It's, I think, the confidence that you have, it translates both ways. So I think all those skills that you learn on the field of play can certainly be replicated and translated off the field of play into the workplace. So, and vice versa. So I think the confidence that you probably have enjoyed, through your time with United, that's going to translate back into swimming or whatever sport is next. You think of so many great leaders and CEOs of Fortune 500 companies now that attribute their success to lessons learned in sport during their youth and young adulthood. And I don't think that is anything different with what we're talking about right now. Yeah, well,
briefly to kind of what you said. So when we had Tony, Sona regional president, come in, Karen Wilson, our boat trail, spoke to exactly what you said about how with the sports that we get from on the field, it also go fit exactly as good training for our jobs. And then also what you said about the lessons that we're learning from sports helping us. Another previous guest, actually, I should say, two-time previous guest on the Special Chronicles Show, two-time previous guest on Special Chronicles, 8-time Olympic medalist Apollo Ono talked about lessons he's learned from sports. He has a new book coming out next year. Hopefully we'll be able to meet up in person. At least that's what he said he wants to do. I know. How many times do you get to? I just want to name. I just like name dropping on the show, but like it's Apollo is a really cool an ambassador that we have, and so Apollo talked about that same thing, lessons he learned from sports. Karen, I'll turn it to you.
Yeah, I think Matt said it really well. I think the disability training or sensitivity training was really a casual environment too for people to ask questions and feel comfortable to bring up any personal situations or just ways that they felt they could deal with different customer employee relations, and how to appropriately respond to somebody who's blind or physically challenged. So that was, I think, really helpful. And the inclusive employment, I think, as Matt mentioned with sports, the other piece to that is the athlete leadership piece. That is a big part of the Special Olympics programming that helps athletes build those tools and those skills to be better in their jobs and their school or anything they're doing outside of Special Olympics as well.
Awesome. So for the sake of time, we are going to have a quick final segment. But first, we're going to take a short sponsor break, and on the job with Karen and Matt from Special Olympics Illinois. Conversation continues after the break. You're listening to the Unified at Work series on the Special Chronicles Show on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll be right back. Don't hit pause. Don't hit pause. We'll be back after a short message from our sponsor.
Hi, my name is Lisa Noble, and I'm a ComEd Energy Force Ambassador and an athlete with Special Olympics Illinois.
Hi, my name is Daniel Spakowski, and I also am a ComEd Energy Force Ambassador and founder of a company called Special Chronicles.
The ComEd Energy Force program is a program that hires people with disabilities to teach the public how to save energy and money.
It's the country's first energy efficiency program of its kind.
Saving energy is especially important while everyone is at home due to COVID-19. We're using more electricity than ever before. Just think about how many more times you are opening the refrigerator door these days.
And while the economy is stressed, it's more critical than ever to save money where we can. Following these tips can save energy and money in this time of COVID-19.
Wash your clothes in cold water and use the dryer sparingly.
Your dryer can take up to 7 times more energy than the washer.
Turn off and unplug any electrical devices or power strips you are not using.
Electrical devices can continue to zap power even when turned off if they're still plugged in. We call them vampire devices.
Use LED bulbs.
They use 25% less energy than incandescent bulbs and last up to 25 times longer, saving you lots of money over time.
Keep your refrigerator between 35 and 38 degrees.
And be sure to use Energy Star appliances.
And last but not least, check out ComEd.com/home savings for more tips and rebates.
Lisa and I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to us today.
Remember, we are all in this together.
Stay healthy.
And stay safe.
Bye. Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives and radio is powering us here at Special Chronicles. Learn more at SpecialChronicles.com/ComEd. That's SpecialChronicles.com/ComEd. We thank ComEd for the generous support of Special Chronicles. This episode is brought to you by listeners like you. Please support this podcast at SpecialChronicles.com/give. That's SpecialChronicles.com/give. And it means a lot to all of us, our entire team at Special Chronicles, for your support. Sorry about that. Phone calls. I had to do a little costume change during that sponsor break, but we'll be back in 30 seconds.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity,
and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
You're listening to the Special Chronicle. You're listening to the Unified at Work series on SpecialChronicles.com, and we are back for a final quick segment. I know all the podcast listeners can't see us, but go check out the video on YouTube, because what Karen and Matt saw, and all of you viewers see on the video on YouTube, is I did a little costume change doing that. You can do a lot in 2 minutes. Okay. Anyways, with that, what have you learned from the original UA4 of our service ambassadors, and also what do you see as the future? I know, like, we've kind of put pause on this playbook, but what I believe we're still working on a playbook for this program. But what have you learned from the four of us, briefly, in about a minute, and then in about a minute, what do you see as the future for the four of us in either getting promoted or staying the same, or when you see this program? So both lessons you've learned, and then what do you see as the future?
I can start out, Daniel. I think that there's a lot for us to still learn, but the 4 athletes that United hired have been such great representatives of Special Olympics and really embraced this opportunity with pride and just true professionalism. I'm constantly just enjoying watching the growth that I've seen with all 4 of you in your personal and professional lives. So that's been really exciting. As far as the future, I hope there's a lot more bright things. I'm already seeing so many new projects and pieces that you guys are involved in that weren't part of any initial discussion. And that's, again, because United is embracing your abilities and really, giving you opportunities to build those within its corporate structure. So I'm excited to see what the future holds, and so proud of the 4 of you and how you've represented Special Olympics.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know, at least for me, and I'm sure Lone and Kyle and Z as well, but unlike other jobs that I've had in the past, and I'm not going to mention those organizations, those companies, but I know, like, it feels like for the first time since graduating school that I've been appreciated for the gifts, the talents, the abilities that I have. Unlike those kind of blah jobs that our case managers and job coaches and stuff put us in, this is United is actually appreciated us. So kind of going off of that briefly and off of what Karen said, Matt, did you want to?
Yeah, and I think it shows that, given the platform and the opportunity, that you guys have delivered and some, and that other corporations around the world need to take notice of that and choose to include it as well. So the exciting thing about this, and as far as what's next, I mean, again, I'm saying this as an employee of Special Olympics and not United. Otherwise, I'd promote you today, Daniel. I think you're already seeing some of that as far as, work outside of your scope initially. We're here today talking about stuff. The work you're doing on this is phenomenal, and I think the original UA4, just like any other United employee, you're going to have that opportunity to blaze your own trail.
Yeah,
they're going to support you with that. So that's all you can talk for.
Yeah. Well, and for example, this Unified, not to promote my own stuff, but this Unified at Work podcast series is not something that we thought of a year ago, but it's something that's kind of come about because of that. And I think because we now have this Unified at Work, 10 episodes, that other United Airlines hubs and other Special Olympics programs can listen to these 10 episodes, hear all full journey. We have chronicled this Unified at Work journey, and I think that can really help as well. So with that, what does, as we come to a close here, what does, see, I thought this was going to be a 30-minute episode, but no, I was wrong. Yeah. I have to get going. So what does inclusion mean to both of you?
Inclusion is about being proactive to people that normally wouldn't be included or that are marginalized, to be able to participate in anything anyone else would. There's a lot of explanations.
Yeah. Awesome. And Matt?
Yeah, I think simply it's just being included and accepted despite differences, and a step further, it's just celebrating those differences. It's a way of thinking, it's a way of life, and we need to realize that we're actually united by diversity. So we need to be understanding of those differences, and I think once we do that, and that knowing that differences are universal, that's when we can really create some meaningful change, like United's doing with the UA4.
Awesome. Well, and now finally, as we come to a close, how can our listeners connect with both of you personally on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those, as well as Special Olympics Illinois on social media and website? Any brief plugs? I don't know who wants to. take those. I'll take that. Those.
You have all our contact information, Dan. You can just put that in your chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you want me to here? Yeah. As a Sunshine International Global Messenger, I can. I'll put that in the show notes on SpecialChronicles.com. Just look in the show notes for episode 395 or part 9 of this Unified Work series. But you can go. I don't know if I have the stuff up. SOI. I don't think I have the website up, but SOILL.org and find special and just go to SOILL.org to find all the social media links and to get involved as an athlete, volunteer, coach, sponsor, all that. Right?
Perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. And you guys are also both on Twitter and Facebook if people want to find you too.
Yeah, it's at SOILL Matt if you want to tweet at me. But I don't have a fancy non-real text number like Daniel. I'm not a celebrity. I'm happy to connect and talk to anybody. So thanks for having us, Daniel.
Yeah. So let's remind our listeners and viewers. You can text me 630-280-3082, 630-280-3082. The number is also in the description and in the episode notes for this episode. Once again, I'd like to remind you, SpecialChronicles.com is where you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast. And remember to rate, review, and follow us to be notified of new episodes that drop weekly right here on the Special Chronicles Network. You'll also find enjoy acceptance and inclusion that gives respect and voice to people with special needs. I hope you have enjoyed this week's episode. Our guests have been Karen Milligan and Matt Johnson from Special Olympics Illinois staff. This has been the Unified at Work series right here on SpecialChronicles.com. Tell your coworkers, friends, family to stay subscribed to this original podcast on Unified at Work and Special Chronicles Show on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll see you back here next week on the digital podcast airwaves, where next week we'll be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of being at United Airlines. So any closing final thoughts, comments you want to share with our listeners?
I think that deserves some applause, first of all. No, I mean, it's been a pleasure. I know you're short on time. I just think, when in doubt, choose to include.
Yeah, choose to include. That's the perfect end. And Karen?
Keep up the great work, Daniel. You are really creating an awesome platform for individuals and so many other people to talk and talk about inclusion and actually act on it.
Okay, awesome. So I have to get going. So and until next week, everyone, remember, choose to include. Until next week, remember, choose to include.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
Okay, I'm going to stop that and